Hey guys, we just got off our first round of pitching to a very small number of people, and I wanted to give an update about where Cauldron Chronicles sits right now in their eyes and where I would like it to go in the future. Now, I had done a couple of days of streaming since then where I've kind of mentioned it, but I admit that maybe my emotions and certainly my fatigue was not in the greatest of spots. So I wanted to make a more definitive direction that we're moving in, and I think that we want to stay indie at this point because from what I've seen with publishers and the risks that they anticipate with Cauldron Chronicles and with Microraptor, it doesn't bode too well for the support that we would receive during development if we were to go with a publisher. So, to keep it short, when we pitched to publishers that didn't have the money or that spending the amount of money on Cauldron Chronicles would be, kind of at the highest end of their budget, they said that the game was too expensive for them. And that was the risk, was that everything looked fine from our game, from the demo we had, from our budget, our milestone plan, our GDD, our pitch deck. Everything was perfect. Everything was beautiful and was more than most developers had, at this stage from what they've said. The problem was the price point and the fact that we are a non-established studio. They made the recommendation to cut potion combat. I'm not going to mince words here. I think that that's really stupid. I think that that is one of the stupidest recommendations. Now, I can understand that they're doing this because they want to cut the budget, because they like the general premise, they like the core loop. And yeah, potion combat is not exactly part of the core loop, right, of helping customers. The problem is that I think that the potion combat provides some of the best chances for emergent gameplay and creates the most amount of depth from from the open world's perspective. And cutting that would nullify the need for potion throwing. And if we don't have potion throwing, then we don't have, puzzles that can be solved with those potion effects. Not in a way that is exciting. And if we have to cut that, then we have an open world where you just go out and you collect ingredients. And that's really that's not nearly enough purpose for an open world, so we might as well remove the open world while we're at it. In which case we remove seasons, and we remove these cool weather patterns and effects, and before you know it, we're just a shopkeeping game. Which certainly, if you have any knowledge of the alchemy games that are on Steam right now, does not stand out enough. Because that's pretty much what all alchemy games are that are on Steam at the moment. So this is what I heard from that subset of publishers. On the other side of things, we talked to some investors or publishers that did have enough money. And again, they said the same thing. Our pitch was great, our demo, the fact that it was all playable, beautiful, awesome. Except I'm just one person. And this is the argument that I can actually understand, even if it still sucks to hear. Because it's something that I can't fix overnight. I'm just one person, and they could give me this money, but there's no assurances that I'll hire the people that we need for the game in the time that we need it. The Polish game dev industry it has some problems, and one of those problems is finding really good producers and really good designers, two of which we will need right at the start of the game, right? We need a combat designer, a level designer, and we of course need a producer right at the start of pre-production, or finishing pre-production. So, understandable, and as well as an art director that is also going to be very difficult to find in that amount of time. So I'm kind of at a crossroads here where I can't just jump back into Cauldron Chronicles and fix this bug. Let's put it that way, because this is an issue with us as a studio. Now, we kind of anticipated some of this going in, which this was our golden possibility. This was option A, plan A, was to do this without any financial backing or team ahead of time and then build that up once we got some initial funding, which is why we were only seeking about 100,000 euros to finish up pre-production over, 2 milestones over 3 months. So, I have thought about a couple of solutions. Number one, we could just put Cauldron Chronicles on the back burner. Now, this wouldn't be killing Cauldron Chronicles, but you could argue that it effectively is killing Cauldron Chronicles. It's not like any of this ages super poorly, we can always pull this idea out in the future, and we can continue to work on it, right? We can polish up the playable, we can fix up some of the design, but it saves us a lot of time in the future if we had an established team in the pre-production stage for Cauldron Chronicles. So that's one option. And then we would work on something in the meantime, right? We would just find a new game to work on. Second option is, admittedly, to just go and get a full-time job. Realistically. I mean, I'm going to be honest, not having a salary in 3 years, it sucks. It's really, really demanding. You can't afford anything. No vacations. You know, it's work. Try to relax, but still doing work, and then work. It's not great. And there's something about the stability and rewarding nature of being paid a salary from somebody and having those people plan the business side of things and the game itself. It's quite tempting. I'm gonna be real with you. The third option is something that I've been mulling over, which is fuck it. Like, just, I don't care about the publishers now. I mean, we can still pitch it. If we have the pitch, we might as well still do it. And I should try to reach out to publishers that have that money. But realistically, what I think I'm going to hear a lot is that just we don't have an established team. They can like my passion, they can like the game and the pitch as much as they want. The reality is, without that established team, that's going to be the new risk factor. And trying to get that money is going to be near impossible. But we can still do it. Or I can just keep working on the game and take it to investors. Which this was, I guess you could say, plan B or plan C, right? Which was, if we can't find a publisher, let's find investors. The only thing that kind of annoys me with this method is that I don't know the business world as much as I know the gaming world, so talking to publishers is certainly more in my comfort zone than talking to investors. But that's a good challenge for me, right? So let's just try to get some investment. Let's get our company valued. We have a pretty strong IP and a solid first playable, so it's not like our company's going to be valued at 10,000 or 50,000. In fact, I think it's going to be valued quite a bit more than that, especially with the speculative nature of game IPs and future revenue streams of that game, right? So let's try to do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know who to talk to accomplish that, so that's something I'm going to have to dive into. And then we can take it to some angels or venture capitalists, and maybe we can sell off a minority share of the company to people who actually want to see my company succeed. This is something that I think was well worded to me while I was talking to some friends at the conference that I was at, which was, publishers don't care about the success of your company in almost every case. They care about the game that they're, paying you to develop. That's what they care about, and oftentimes it is at your detriment. They don't care if you're suckling at their teat, because what they want is that game, and if you flop, they can find any number of studios to continue working on things. Now, this is not always the case. This is an oversimplification and a little bit of a rude way to describe publishers. This is not all publishers. But investors, on the other hand, usually, conversely, want to see your company succeed, because that means that they make more money from you in that case, right? So they want to invest in you. They want to find those people that can have that high return on investment. And if they can pay us, 100, 200,000 to get off our feet, hire some of these initial people and work on the pre-production, that's good for them, because that indicates, there's still risk to the company, but they do want to see us succeed, and they are willing to give us a bit more or lend us a helping hand because they've already sunk that amount of money into us. Maybe I'm a little bit starry-eyed about it, but this is a avenue that I have not attempted to pierce, and maybe it's worth giving it a shot, because clearly the publishers think that we're too risky simply because we don't have an established team. And I understand how some of this sounds a little bit contradictory, where, we're looking for money to build a team, and their complaint about not giving us money is that we don't have a team. but you can't hire people without money. It is contradictory, but they kind of have the pick of the litter right now. You know, publishers see hundreds of pitches every quarter, and that might even be an understatement. They don't have to choose us, the risky option, even if we're working on a game that appears pretty decent, when they could pick other games that have higher ROI or aren't looking for 4 million euros and already have, you know, a few established team members. So I think that over the next year, I'm starting to lean a bit more towards making this choice of just keep working on the game and fuck the noise. But, you know, it is another year of investment, or even 2 years, because we do have a lot of big work that we need to do, such as overhauling the entire level, so remaking the entire level from scratch. Now, a lot of the systems are kind of okay. I think, you know, obviously the UX is pretty shitty on a lot of it, but we need to remake the level, and that's something that I have been kind of dreading, just because of the amount of time it'll take. But if this is going to be our new goal to jump into, then maybe this is the right move. So either way, you know, you guys can let me know in the comments below, or jump onto the stream and talk about it with me, since honestly, I don't have a final choice made about all this. It's still up in the air. I'm still mulling it over, and you know, there's pros and cons to each that are going to be very difficult to make, but there is some truth to something that my wife said, which is just that this is kind of the only opportunity that I have, that if we do plan to bring a new life into the world, which we aren't, we're not you know, she's not pregnant, so don't worry. But if we do want to do that, we're going to need the money, we're going to need the space for it, and obviously I'm not going to have the opportunity to make these crazy business decisions and try to get this started up. So we'll see. We'll see. I just wanted to update you guys about where we're sitting at the moment with that, and say that even though I've kind of talked about on stream of maybe putting Cauldron Chronicles on the back burner, I'm starting to walk that back a bit, but nothing's finalized yet. I'll let you know. I'll make another one of these videos about what we plan to do. I just need a bit of a break, since I've been kind of working pretty hard for the last couple months, and maybe that fatigue is, you know, that burnout is starting to hit. So I just need to kind of walk back a bit, relax, and replan things so that I know exactly where we need to jump into and what we need to start working on, so that the next development stream for Cauldron Chronicles, we can actually target the most important parts of the game to fix. So I'm sorry that was a bit rambly. My mind's kind of all over the place. It was a kind of a tough weekend. Been playing a lot of Fantasy Life. Check out that game. It's pretty good. And like I said, I'll let you guys know. I'll make another video saying, yes, we're going back to Cauldron Chronicles, or no, we're moving on to another game, or there is a possibility where I say, look, I've taken a job. Cauldron Chronicles wouldn't even have to end if I did that, because let's put it honestly, if I make some money, I can hire people to do some small bits of work or contracted 3D models in the background. You know, it would take longer, certainly. I wouldn't have as much full time to dedicate to working on the game, but it's not impossible that we could make it that way too. So again, there's just a lot on my mind. Thank you for listening to me. I'm going to get going here because I got to start the stream again. But thank you for listening to that, and worst case, thank you guys for supporting me over this amount of time working on Cauldron Chronicles, and I do hope that we can jump back into it and start working on some new aspects of it. Thank you, take care, and talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.